This reading is going to be on Drake and Nicki Minaj's. Mm, I don't want to say complicated relationship, but definitely their whole energy together and just their dynamics. Because I mean, it's always been pretty clear to me personally that they do not mess with one another like that, especially after the hate train, and especially after, well, I'd like to say that his advances just went onto deaf ears, and his pleas went on deaf ears, and she just didn't give him that time of the day, and whatever that he has like really wanted from her. So the latest thing is for like the longest 2 months, up to 3 months, um, Drake has been using Nicki Minaj and her name in promoting this album that he last released, which is I think for all the dogs or something like that. And like posting stories, like I literally just saw a thread, and like he's really such a cunning person because he knows what he's doing. Where he just, as I was saying, he was just posting her in his sorry, and reposting IG posts with them together, mentioning her, just doing the utmost and basically teasing the collaboration that they've had together. And even up till this week, he has done nothing but kind of like promote it and say that they have a song together on the album, only for the album to drop, and there is no goddamn song there. Like there isn't. There is. Oh, I don't know who is collaborating with on the album, but because I didn't listen to it. Because if there was Nicki, I would have listened. Because I do not rock with that man. And he's doing the most. Like, how is everybody else held accountable for whatever shit that they do or say, but not him? Or why is it always never a male rapper who is actually really held accountable for the shit that they say or like the way they move? But when it's a female rapper, all hell breaks loose. From Nicki to Doja to Megan to everybody else. Like what? The double standards are crazy. But I was saying, he released this and there is no Nicki Minaj on site. I mean, I wasn't really surprised because I know how he moves when it comes to her. He's always been, I don't, well, sneaky. I don't want to say, like petty, but he is petty. He's very deceiving. And I'm kind of starting to connect the dots in my head. But lately, Nicki has been saying that, other artists use her name for clickbait and for her fandom, um, to help in, like promoting shit and just, to keep being updated with everything. And it falls perfectly under so many artists, like from um all the upcoming rappers who will be well, not all the upcoming rappers, but like some of the rappers who will be showing her love and stuff like that, only for them to just use her name for clickbait. mm. Only for them to use her name for clickbait and just not uh be genuine with it and stuff like that. And even Drake is one of them. But yeah, he used her name until the last freaking minute, and she wasn't on the album. So like, and Nicki knew that. I feel like she knew that because it fell under a Friday, and instead of just letting her fans down and just making them feel bad or just in a certain way, she just released the second album cover and released the vinyls and stuff like that. So yeah, she eventually saved the day and seized this and seized all the opportunities and just gave us a very pink Friday. So yeah, let's just get into this and see what exactly is going on between them. Because I was shuffling now and the cards fell. Some cards fell, so I'll just take those as like some of the general energies surrounding this. Then we're gonna dive deeper into the general energy and get into their feelings towards one another and why did she get called out, and if they are going to collab on her album instead and stuff like that, just so we can see everything being played out in there. Sorry. So the first card we have is Three of Swords. There is definitely some like hidden uh sad feelings and just hidden kind of like resentment and just sadness in here because I thought that, we were past that. I thought that we moved past this and we're not going to be doing this or just, keep coming back or going back to whatever this shit was. There is a feeling just like why is there something like this? Why is there that type of like punishment or just like misjudgment just for the hell of it? You know? There's also the feeling of just like why are you just not seeing the bigger picture, not seeing the bigger picture and just like obstacles and just delays, a lot of delays. Which is true because you just delaying their futures, I'm sorry, and their work together just out of the past feelings that are still lingering around. That are just still lingering around from everything. There is just, yeah, that feeling of just being stuck in the past and not being able to kind of like move forward without it. Like without just feeling held back with all of those feelings and just clinging into the past. Just clinging into the way he was rejected or the way that love that he had for her wasn't conquered and wanting to just detach yourself from all that but you can't. Meanwhile, like they're just like that drifting apart and weekly they're just drifting apart and trying to avoid whatever this is instead of just talking about this once and for all and just clearing the air. um he just he just tried to just be dishonest about it and just kind of sneaky about it in his own twisted way, which is crazy. There is that feeling of just betrayal and the feeling of just being deceptive and just acting strategically and acting like a fucking fraud. And just looking back at that, but not feeling a certain type of joy, but also just feeling smug about it because, ahaha, what I'm hearing, like, haha, I had you now. You know, like, I had you now. I used your name for clickbait. I used it for, like, little materialistic type of joy and everything. And even if he did, even if he did what he did, he still doesn't feel like that full satisfaction. He still does feel smug though about it. Like he does feel smug, but at the same time, like it's not bringing him that much joy because he's seeing how this kind of how it like it's kind of like just um fired back. Like it just went against him again even more. It just made him look like he's salty and jealous and just dissatisfied with everything. I mean, in a way, it is certainly true because there is that childlike and childish energy, a lot of just immaturity and pettiness. Like you can't let the past go. You let the that's the clock second. You let the past keep controlling you. You don't know how to, kind of like it's crazy because I mean, it's true in this case because he's pro at just being petty and being toxic and just, um, using things against people or just kind of always just making sure to always just shit on other people so he can feel better about himself and others and like his fans and people just kind of like egg him on when they shouldn't because this isn't something good. But I mean, he does what he does, but at the same time, this is just peak immaturity and peak pettiness because he can just let go of whatever that has happened and has transpired between them together, which just reminds me of the shit that he even said about Rihanna. But that's going to be for another reading that I am going to be doing just right after the other one, this one. It's just lots of pettiness because why are you doing this? He's still like this as twisted as this is gonna sound, they still have, that type of like partnership and just, like connection and just type of like flirtiness in their relationship when they're together and everything. But when they part ways or like when like Nicki leaves the room or when they just don't be next to one another and everything, all the hidden feelings of just, sneakiness and just feeling like, oh, I have to deal with this and that, just arise. Like the real feelings and real emotions that he keeps hidden when he's around her and stuff, just rise to the surface and just showcase his true nature and the way he's really feeling about her. There's a lot of stuff that is not stuff, but there's a lot of just burdening feelings and burdening emotions that just harbor just amongst the surface. Like if you scratch it or just kind of like dig a little bit deeper in there, you'll find out a lot more that he be doing and a lot more that he be saying and just accent, and you'll find out so many hints that are dropped from both parts that showcase just how done they are with one another, but you know, they just won't like admit it out loud. Like there's also just deep wounds and betrayals and just feeling hurt and just, feeling like this isn't the same anymore. Like we just gotta move differently. But at the same time, you don't want to move differently because the man feels like family to you. Nicki sees that man as, somebody from her family, from her, as they said, like from her crew or whatever. They all grew up together and stuff in the industry and everything. But at the same time, she just doesn't appreciate the way that he be treating her and the way that he be approaching certain situations that include her or like their works of art together and stuff like that. Like, yeah. Like we work together and everything, and you just tarnish that shit and you just kind of like throw it all away just to be messy and just to be confused and just to create lots of chaos. And that's like a brutal move and that's a messy move. She knows how it is. Like that didn't used to happen in the past. That never happened in the past. Like regardless of what I mean. But that's how she feels. Like that never used to happen in the past. I miss how we was in the past. Like how everything was, how we were and stuff like that. But now everything is just stale and stagnant and not moving in the direction that it should be moving towards. And it just feels like all hope is kind of like being lost, or just you're just pouring into an empty river, or like in a river that is kind of like way too crippled and way too crippled to just actually accept any outpoured love or emotions there, or just anything in there. There's also just hesitation and just holding back. Like, should I just really say something about this, or should I just, like keep it moving? But she chose to just keep it moving, regardless of how much temptations that she was kind of like, how tempted she was feeling to even say something about it, like to even comment about it. Like, she held herself back because she knew that one of them has to be the bigger person and just bring more balance into the picture. Because there is a lot at stake there, which is insane. Because, once they start moving different, they just gotta start watching out and just being for the lookout. Just start, like being for the, watching for the signs and not ignoring them, and just start looking out for everything else that is happening. But, we know. We know how Nicki is. I'm gonna keep it classy. She's gonna just keep it moving and just be graceful about it at times. Especially when I notice that, like, when it concerns Drake and, like other people that she is close to, she's always, protecting them, always shielding them, no matter how hard they come at her and everything. Even throughout the hate train era and everything, where they were going at it and everything, she didn't really kind of like really go hard at him, but she did have lots of symbolism that showed that they had the falling out and everything, and he took it far. Like, he took it way too far there, and just went and kind of gave props to Cardi B and said that she's the hardest female hip hop rapper, I think, or the hardest female rapper that was there in that year, just because he was not feeling Nicki. And he just went there and just took pictures with her and just was being extremely petty and childish. And I mean, that was just a slap to the face. I mean, I never really liked him. I only listened to a few songs with him and Rihanna and with him and Nicki and the big three, with him and Wayne and Nicki and stuff. But like, you can tell when somebody is just doing stuff to irk you and just gets a rise out of you, and he's that type of person. So like, yeah, I honestly just, I don't know what this Nicki be doing with some people like him, but oh well, it's her thing, it's her life, not my business. But of course, we're just going to tap into that stuff. Okay, so let's see what is next in here. What's next is the current energy between Nicki Minaj and Drake. Let's see. What is the current energy between Nicki Minaj and Drake? Oh my god, that's a lot of cards. Right. So let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, so the first thing I'm hearing is I am not going to fight you. I am not going to be saying a lot or doing a lot of back and forth. But whatever you're doing is not something good. It's not going to be working or benefiting you on the long run. Mm. There is the feeling of just like no matter what I do, it's always going to just be tiring and feeling like I have to always defend myself. And just no matter how hard we work together and stuff like that, it isn't going to be working because they have different values and they are um way different than one another, or how even more different than how they used to even be. you know there is also that feeling of just mm, there's that feeling of just like, do we really just want to kind of like throw everything that we ever experienced together and live through together just down the drain because of the way you're moving? But it's crazy because no matter like how all of this is playing out, and no matter how hard he's showing her signals that he isn't really messing with her that much, or he isn't really kind of like holding the best intentions towards her, or just acting funny and acting iffy and acting different, acting petty. She's always still trying to kind of maintain the peace, and they're like way to attach to one another, and it's just kind of crazy because like there is that little like toxicity in there, and that type of just like them just kind of being addicted to this type of behaviors and those types of cycles when it comes to one another, and them just always being like tempted to just coexist together or like codepend on one another, and always kind of like falling back and then just falling right in the same pattern and just finding their way back into each other's lives, like no matter what it is. It's insanity. Insanity, to be honest. But there's also lots of just anger and just feeling guilty, and just lots of negative thoughts that are swimming around each of their heads, was just kind of like really hindering everything, and kind of like hindering any process that they ever think of making. There's there is a conflicting energy here, and there is conflicts on the horizon and just like arising between them and stuff like that. But they're kind of just like avoiding that and just choosing to agree to disagree instead. But she isn't pleased. She is not pleased with all of this. Like, she isn't pleased with all of this at all. um because like no matter how hard like everything we work with and stuff like that, it's not working, and he's kind of like looking at her in a way, like looking at her and knowing that he's gotten under her skin, or like gotten to her, and just feeling like a little joyful about it, and just feeling like he kind of like, I won this round or whatever. And um there's the energy just like a little overwhelming, like the energy just feeling a little overwhelmed and just wanting to give up and feeling exhausted, because this isn't something that I want to keep going at, or like I want to keep happening. But at the same time, as I said, like they're always going to be bound to there and just like finding their ways towards one another, just because of the way that they're moving or they were raised in the industry, and just because of Lil Wayne too, because he's kind of like the pacifier or like the peacemaker between them. But there is a lot of just sneakiness going around, and feeling like this isn't something that's used to be there, but now you're just kind of seeing the real emotions and just like the real feelings about everything, and he's just making it look like an eye-opening experience and just shocking. See, exactly. Making it look like we're just finally kind of realizing what everybody was saying, or just kind of like seeing it just happen in real life, or just like multiplying, even though you already had an inkling and you already knew about it deep down, but you really didn't want to believe it because it didn't seem um the case. It didn't seem like it was the case back then, but now it's just kind of like solidifying itself with um the way he's behaving and stuff like that. Nicki's energy is kind of like laid back but also sad, but it's also like it is what it is. Meanwhile, he is really a kind of like a master at just hiding his real feelings and concealing them, to the point that he's, like he's a charmer. He's making it, look like he ain't got anything to do with that. But he is, a little restless and just feeling a little bit in his head about certain stuff. But I'm gonna get to that when I tap into his energy more. But as I was saying, there is a lot of just disappointment and just immaturity and just frustration about everything because why is this happening now? Um, it does feel like it is unfair, and it does feel like he's holding on to everything for dear life just because of the way he's moving and just wanting to make money. So as I was saying, he was, hyping everything up and just, using my name for clickbait is what I'm hearing Nicki say, and just feeling like there's always that type of attachment that that there is there, which is kind of making me believe that he does have some sort of leverage or just like some sort of dirt on Nicki or like some sort of something that's kind of like making him have the upper hand or like much more power on her or something of that sort. But do not hold me accountable for this. I am just saying what I'm channeling and what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing. Um, but yeah, there is. I mean, they've been knowing each other for way too long, so obviously he will be knowing some stuff that we don't know of, or like some things that we really aren't aware of, and vice versa. So like he needs to keep it tight, is what I'm hearing. As I said, as I was saying, I'm sorry. There's lots of unfairness in here, lots of just kind of like holding on to this and just following the materialistic ways and just being materialistically hungry for just more, wanting more power, just wanting to always have the upper hand about stuff. And that's how he feels like when it comes to this situation. It's making him sorry, get high in that type of just like power trip and just feeling like, oh wow, like he is doing the thing. Meanwhile, he ain't doing the thing. But yeah, he's just going against everything that they have once believed in, and he's just being a hypocrite in this situation. There is hypocrisy, lots of just feeling just like fickleness in here, and just hypocrisy, and just lots of friction between them, and just I don't want to say arguments, but there might be some back and forth and just them exchanging some words. But there is just like lots of immaturity in the mix too. Like, that's their current energy. Like even if they talk, they're kind of like being snarky towards one another, but serving it with grace and just like with class, and just you gotta really like listen to kind of get the meaning. But they're kind of like diverting the attention of just kind of like agreeing to disagree on this and just not wanting to like really go at it, but it's definitely going to happen anyway. I don't know if they're ever going to like fall out for real, but they might be on the verge of something like that, or just like arguing, or just like disagreeing, and just having those disagreements, and just her kind of like being sneaky right the fuck back to him. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't blame her. I would actually like encourage her to do so. I mean, like, go ahead, go have a song with Kendrick Lamar. Go ahead and just do something again with Tyga. Go ahead and just do something else. Which is crazy because I just now realized that ever since she kind of made up with Drake, she isn't paying Tyga that much mind. Huh. Interesting. I mean, go to like the full length. Go ahead, get Kendrick, get Tyga. Go ahead, talk to Pusha T, and just do everything that he was doing to you like tenfold, because he's going to feel it even more harder. Because that's just how he feels towards Nicki. He takes everything way more too seriously when it comes to her. But now we're going to tap into Nicki's energy and see how she's feeling towards this nigga. And we're going to see what are we exactly going to be getting. So let's just get right into it again. Let me just write the timestamp and let's see how does Nicki Minaj feel about Drake? How does Nicki Minaj feel about Drake? Okay, let's see. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. I think I'm actually about Drake. That's a lot of cars that flew. I think it's made us a thud sound, but let us see. See, of course she's always going to be feeling nostalgic and having a soft spot for him, which is crazy. As I was saying, always, just like throughout this whole fucking reading, that she's always going to have that feeling of just like familiarity when it comes to him, because they have so many memories and they have made so many hits together and they have made so many sweet memories together, and she's always going to be reminiscent about the times that they've had together. Now let me find out why is she reminiscent about the times when he used to be in love with her, or when he used to be liking her and he was at her every calling day and he was always flirting with her and everything. And now she's like, is the love gone? Is he replaced by just bitterness, and is he just like walking away? You know, there. I mean, I mean, I mean, I don't know how to say this. It's not that I don't know how to say this, but I don't know how I'm going to just say this without people just saying. There's a lot of imbalance. Okay, there is a detachment. He's detaching himself from her, and she's detaching herself from him. And there is an indecision about just like wanting to walk away. But like there is a lot in here too that needs to be studied, or like there is a lot in this equation that needs to be taken into consideration before they even just actually part ways fully. But he's always kind of like just blocking whatever creative thing that they cook up together. He's always just doing so. And by just doing so, he makes Nicki just look at everything in a way that just makes it feel like he's always just not wanting to just associate himself with her, musically at least, because we know how he is. Like we know how he gets and stuff. But at the same time, she sees him as somebody who just can't okay, wait, disassociate the personal from the professional. I mean, the kiddo is calling the pop back black. Sorry, it's like they're just like the same in similar situations. That's why they kind of clash together, because at times they're the same when it comes to this. Although Nicki is much more like fiery when it comes to certain stuff, and he's kind of like much more kind of like grounded, or just keeping things in check. But they both have petty approaches to certain situations, and it's just interesting to be looking at. Like when you really notice the differences, and when you really just notice everything and take it into consideration. But as I was saying, she does see him as somebody who is kind of like always just scattered or all around. She is disappointed in him, yes. She is withdrawing her energy from him and just deciding to kind of like let this just unfold in a certain way, because if she ever just like exchanges words with him, it's not going to be pretty. She's really holding herself back from just really talking about a lot of stuff. She's not wanting to just say something that's going to make them just at odds again, because she doesn't want that anymore. But as I was saying, she is like whatever they work passionately like on a project together and stuff like that, he just like delays it, and that is becoming much more frustration to Nicki, and she just doesn't like it anymore. But at the same time, she's choosing not to speak about it, because she knows if she ever just kind of like talks, they're going to disagree and just get into it and not listen fully to one another when they get mad, and just kind of like make things escalate even more quickly and even more quicker than they already are. Yeah, she sees him as somebody who's kind of just like reckless and always like impatient, so always on the go, and never really just sitting there and just thinking everything through. But at the same time, she does know that he is a good investor. She respects that about him, the fact that he can make and turn everything into a song, and just he can just trademark whatever the fuck he pleases. She knows the potential in him. She does see him as somebody who is ambitious and who is always like informative and stuff. But she sees the way he doesn't invest properly and in a better way when it comes to their shit together, and that's just what's rubbed her off the wrong way and keeps just nagging at her. But at the same time, as I was saying, she was reminiscing about, she feels like that type of the feeling of emptiness when it comes to them together. And she doesn't like that. She doesn't like the fact that there is lots of tension between them and lots of just unspoken uh, words and broken promises and just just a lot of just emptiness and just not. Nicki's all about clarity. Nicki's all about clearing things and clearing the air and everything. So for her to just always be at um, in rocky situations and at odds with one person that she really used to, like look up to and love and stuff like that, is just not good, or it just doesn't feel good to her at least, you know. Um, she definitely is disappointed in everything that he's doing, in the way that he's moving, and she definitely doesn't trust him anymore because she sees him as somebody who is so unpredictable and who switches sides and just is flip floppy whenever things doesn't go his way. She knows that. Um, she also just kind of like really suppresses her emotions and represses them now. And it's crazy because her intuition has always been telling her that, this isn't going to be ending well, or like whatever project they've worked with or like worked on together and stuff like that wasn't going to make the cuts on the album. But she went against her better judgment, and now she's just like, I wish I listened to myself, but like I still did what I did, and I still just like gave them my all. And there's, as I said, lots of tension between them, and she's just choosing to focus on her own things and her own stuff that is going to be beneficial for her and just not him. She's kind of like choosing to just stay quiet and just do everything that he's doing, but for herself too. You know. Yeah, she does seem as somebody who is, like uh, a mind fucker, basically. Somebody who just plays lots of mind games and just misuses his power, or like misuses his uh his power, as I was saying, and literally, and who misuses whatever uh hold he has upon others, and who is working like through from a place of emotions. Like she's like, if some shit is good and I worked on it and I spent lots of time on it, I'm gonna still post it out, so I'm gonna still post it or whatever, just for my own satisfaction. But at the same time, she understands where he's coming from. But at the same time, it's like, this is illogical. This isn't something that you should be doing. You should need to he not should need. You need to kind of, she's like, he needs to just juggle between priorities better and just adapt himself better and just learn how to negotiate and just come at you strongly and just like face to face and directly, instead of just doing shit like this from behind the scenes and just basically throwing rocks and hiding his hands behind his back, because this is something that is unfair, and this is something that he shouldn't be doing, because um this time is different, but apparently it's no different than the rest. So yeah, that's how she feels about him. Now let's see, how does he feel about her. Now let's see, how does Drake feel about Nicki Minaj? How does Drake feel about Nicki Minaj? How does Drake feel about Nicki? Okay, let's see. He does see her as somebody who is really prideful, who kind of lets her pride gets the best of her. He's always trying to. He sees her as a puzzle, like really hard to discern and really hard to kind of like really understand at times. He's always so confused when it comes to her. Like he sees her potential and shit, but he always just doesn't know how to approach her now even more, and he doesn't know how to handle stuff with her on the low. He represses his emotions when it comes to her. You know, he feels like she be doing too much, and she gives the wrong people too much. He sees her as somebody who is kind of messy at times and who is brutal and chaotic. Like her energy is everywhere. He sees her as somebody who will give. Okay, it's crazy because he sees her as at times hungry, or just like money hungry, but at the same time he sees her spending on the wrong matters and on the wrong people. He also sees her as cutthroat, but he also sees her as somebody who is really aware of her impacts and who is really aware of her shit, who is super creative. That's why he be using her and like listening to her input and just kind of like always wanting to get more of her shit and just grasp more info from her and just get it out of her and stuff like that. But at the same time, he sees how she doesn't be focusing on what is right, and she doesn't really expand her horizons the same way she used to. He's really in his head about a lot of stuff that has happened between them. He definitely does regret the missed out opportunities that he missed out with her, or like missed out on with her and stuff like that. He definitely wants to move forward, but there is a lot that has happened in the past. It's kind of made that love that he had for her go dry, or like those emotions just kind of like repress themselves because they were just taken out of proportion, or just like not poured, or like not taken care of. And that's what made him kind of like grow angry, or just like bitter at her in certain ways. And in some ways he also does see her as somebody who is okay, I hate to say this, but he does see her as bitchy at times. Like she bitches a lot, whines a lot, says a lot of shit, just keeps talking and talking and talking, and just keeps swinging at me, and just keeps coming at me, and just like doing the most. He does see her as somebody who is cold at times, who turned cold with time, and who just kind of like switched up on him. It's crazy because she feels like he switched up on her, and he feels like she switched up on him, and it's just like a lot. If they actually just like sat down together and just really dug deep into whatever wounds that they've had, or they've wounded each other with, all of this would have been solved. Well, not all of this, but like it would have been a first step towards the process, because at times their words, their exchanged words, kind of fell or fall upon deaf ears, you know. But he definitely does see her as somebody who is very compassionate, um, who is aware of what she does, who is always, listening, who has that motherly nature to her, and that type of like instinct, and just wise beyond her age, who is always, like wise beyond her ears, not ears, but beyond her years, and who's, I'd say like he sees her as somebody who had to toughen up because of life, and because of the choices she made, and because of the way that she was exposed to certain situations. He does respect her hustle. He does, like know what's up. But it's crazy because he is working, or just like acting from a place of hurt, and from a place of just confusion from his hmm let me look. Not this breakthrough running from Minaj. He feels like at times she's unpredictable. Like only God just really knows what the fuck is going on with her. Like whatever side he's going to get from her. But he's always acting out from a place of just, like as I said, confusion, and just indecision, and just not knowing what's really he should be acting upon, or just like acting out on. He doesn't know, because he doesn't feel like there is a right choice in the situation. Like he'd always just like pick the lesser of two evils in the situation. He's very indecisive when it comes to her. Like he doesn't really know what the fuck he should really be acting out on. But he does, still harbor some resentments. He does know that their relationship, or like their connection or whatever, is kind of like transforming. He's always changing. He's always on the go, but he doesn't know towards like which direction, which makes him always give her a certain face, or like a certain feeling at times. But he's just willing to move forward, and just determined to just control his own journey, and just not give her that type of control, not give her that type of control over him anymore, because he's like, I've given her that, and he just ended terribly. But he definitely still let me find out. He definitely still, like likes her, and has the type of like attraction towards her. He does see her as the queen that she is. But at the same time, he just feels like he has no control over this, and he's just always to be I'm sorry, he's just always going to be like this, up and down all the time, up and down, up and down, up and down, until somebody really just like does something about it, you know. But as I said, he's willing to just move forward, even though he's always, like watching her every move, and just curious about everything that she be doing, and he is always like stalking her or like spying on her. But he's willing to just like transition and just kind of like, I don't want to say leave her behind, but definitely you know just be on his own, because he knows that she doesn't need him, and she's independent, and she's clear minded. But she's also knowing that, like, she's always going to have that soft spots for him, and she's always going to be worried about him and just worrying about where would they sit, because there's just her. She's, like, practical, reliable, supportive, and is always nurturing, is always on the lookout for the people who matter to her. That's why he's always going to consider her as family, even though their dynamic is fucked up, and he's always going to have like a passion, and always going to have that type of just like inner strength, and just um well, not inner strength per se, but inner passion is just kind of like intimidated by her at times. But at the same time, it's going to be stagnant from time to time. It's always going to be, awestruck by her beauty and the way she handles herself, even though he isn't happy with some of her choices. And even though there's also struggles in there, but might just, like, keep staying here regardless of the stormy times and the changes and the delays, and just hope for new beginnings, or just, end this shit once and for all, because he'd rather have her by his side, even though they go through lots of shit and petty shit, than just kind of like miss out on her and just lose her and argue with her. But he's always going to be always like putting himself into the situation where they're always going to have to compete with one another, or just feeling like, they're going to have to butt heads, or just like argue about everything and just rival one another. And there's always going to be like that pettiness and cattiness, and just that tension around one another, because of their clashing egos and because of their big heads. So there's always going to be lots of frustrations, and just like holding off, and just wanting to say something, but just like pondering about it, and just like contemplating about it, and just, disconnecting, and just being bored, and just, being restless again, and just not feeling it, basically. It's their dynamic, though. So, like, I'm not surprised, honestly. I was surprised, though, because of the confusion that he be feeling. You'd think that, he's figuring everything out, but oh well. Now, let's see. Let's just ask two last questions quickly and wrap this up. Let's see, why didn't he release their song together? Okay. Um, let's see. Why didn't Drake release his song with Nicki Minaj on his album? Why didn't he release the song? Um, why didn't he release the song of them together with Nicki Minaj? Why didn't he release these songs? A lot of parts. So let's see. Why didn't Drake release his song with Nicki Minaj on his album? Why didn't he put it out on his album? See, as I was saying, because he doesn't want to be outshined by her. He doesn't want her to just, be like, I helped in his album, or like she helped make the song even better. He wanted to be the one who would get all the praise. He wanted to be the one who is always in control, just having everything figured out on his own. He wanted to be the one who is, like, getting all those praises, or just like who is the most talked about. But in a way, he did get outshined by her, regardless, by her revealing her album cover. So like, two could have played that game. He's in his, like, he is arrogant, he is careless. He just wants to be the one who who just gets to have everything. Like, he just wanted to kind of like direct all the attention and divert it towards whatever shit he had planned um on whichever song he had, which is, I think, the one that was shading his ex. But he just was opposed to this, because he was being stubborn, and he was wanting to have the upper hand, and he was wanting to have the control, and he was just passive aggressive with it. Like, he didn't even kind of just like give that much of a good reasoning, but he just wanted to be the one to just have it all in there. Like, why didn't he release his song with Minaj? Why didn't he release it on his album? Let's see why included on his album. Let's see. Yeah, because he wanted to progress on his own. He wanted to be the one with this type of kind of like victory, and just wanted to be the one who is moving on his own, and just wanted to have it's me who did that, like a big me, myself, and I moments basically for him again. Break. Yeah, because he wanted to just not do so. He just wanted to leave that shit behind him, and he just wanted to kind of like he just abandoned that shit basically and just left it behind him because he wanted the leadership. He just wanted basically to be the only focus of that night and not her. He didn't want her to kind of like outshine him. That's why he settles for, like less intimidating people or like people who are intimidated by him on the track so they wouldn't, like kind of like work up their nerves or like gather themselves to even gather themselves fast enough to even kind of like just do it or just kind of like make him feel little or like belittled in a way because whenever Nicki is on a song it instantly becomes her song basically. um he definitely did have a purpose for this which is exactly what the fuck we're looking at right now. All right. Yeah, he did have a hidden agenda. He just wanted to just, silence her and just he was doing this for his own selfish reasons because he just wanted to be the only one who is, the talk of the show basically or the talk of the night, not her. Yep. He wanted to be the only one at the party. He wanted to be the only one who is, enjoying all that shining stuff and enjoying all the talks and enjoying all the trending and just decided to disagree with her on this again and just basically uh just up and do it. He just up and did it and he just wanted to win at all costs and just was sneaky with it and did it and um did it while just kind of like step in onto like all those boundaries and he did it and kind of just like hid behind everything else like yeah it's better for me if I do this, it's best if I do that and then do this, just giving out like empty explanations and whatever that just showed Nicki that he isn't past whatever that has happened between them and that he's just being greedy and just being stingy I'm stingy, stingy. I don't know, but he's just being, like greedy and just being self-centered in there and just delaying everything just because of his own hidden motives and his own territorial type of motives in there because he's just reckless and just inconsistent with stuff like this. So yeah, there we have it. I mean, I'm not surprised. He's just like this. He's always having that hidden type of like competitive nature with Nicki and just being petty and immature and just stuck in the past and clinging onto the past. So like, it's no surprise to me, honestly. Now let's see if he will be on Pink Friday too. So let's see. Will Drake be on Pink Friday too? Will Drake be on Pink Friday too? I mean, will Drake be on Pink Friday too? There is that. I mean, it's already done. I think now since she's selling the vinyls, there is. Yeah, I think it's already done. There might be a chance that he is there though. Like I'm not gonna lie. When they reached out for him, there was a type of hesitation, but there was like, okay, fuck it, let's do it. And let's see. I think Friday too. Is you're on Friday too. Like let's do it. Let's create something together. Let's just work on it. Let's just get into work or let's just take action. So there's like two scenarios for this. Them actually working together for a song on his album. Then like I'd work with you if you just work with me for one song on my album or like in my album and stuff. And like okay, there was a type of hesitation. Okay, and then like, are you sure? Like, should I do it? Should I not? And stuff like that. Then just saying okay, like screw it. Then they did it. And let's see. will directly on Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday show, her fifth album. Will he be there on the album? Will they have a song together? No, there is. So no, there is a yes. So it's really honestly just depends on whether Nicki just decided to leave it there or just kind of like take it off. Let's see. It depends honestly because like she can be like him and just be bitchy and just act out just like he acts out and just be cold about it and just kind of like cut him off from the album and stuff. Or like she would just kind of like juggle between all that shit and just not miss out on the opportunity and just put it out there because they worked hard to perfect everything and just worked hard in the studio. um I said it in kind of like my mother tongue, but in the studio together and stuff. So it just depends because they work. It was a passion project. It all depends on if they just want to give it another shot and another try. And if not, then she definitely scrap this. And if she didn't scrap it, then we're going to be seeing it on the album. So it has like two different outcomes depending on how she strongly felt at that moment. Because if she felt like she was challenged and tried, then she definitely took it off. And if she didn't, and if she still wants to put it up because she likes it recently enough, then we're going to see it there. So yeah, that's the answer. Okay, now on to the last question, which is what is next for both of them together? Um, let's see. Um, what is next in store for Nicki Minaj and Drake together? What is next in store for Nicki Minaj and Drake together? Oh, okay, wait. Oh, leaving behind, escaping, abandoning, walking away, feeling satisfied with the moves that you're making. Just strategize. My God, strategizing everything. Definitely writing about it. I don't know if it's ever just make it to the cut and just like be said to the public, but definitely writing about certain situations and just writing about it in your raps and stuff like that. It's more so him than her though in this. Just being satisfied with whatever that comes up at the moment. Definitely lots of sneakiness again. Just lots of hypocrisy between them. This ongoing cycle is going to be ongoing for the longest run until one of them just decides that they've had enough and then just like snapping and just talking about it and just talking recklessly about it and just having a slick mouth about it. But until then, they're still going to be just bullshitting the fuck out of one another at certain situations and at certain times. There's a lot of just like reminiscent. Oh my god, just as I fucking said so, a fucking card like the Six of Cups just like fell. So lots of reminiscing about all the memories and just stuck in there and just looking down at them like what changed, what happened, which flip, like which switch is flipped on that just made everything feel so messy, so heartbroken, so confusing. Lots of just feelings of burdened, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like everything is just kind of like closing in on you and just not seeing any type of growth, but still always having hope that maybe y'all will, like they will reunite. My God, reunite again. That they will reunite again and just everything will turn out just okay or just at least be fine about everything. But there is a lot of just like sadness and just feeling like everything is just happening so fast and everything is just spinning around on you and you're not feeling well. Lots of just like anxiety and just feeling like this isn't going to end well or like they'll just eventually kind of just have to fall out. But let's see what is next one for one and Drake. Yeah, lots of just toxic patterns and behaviors and just insecurities and just working and busying yourself with work, busying themselves with work so they won't feel like the stagnation or just like don't see how this is kind of like turning out and just reminiscing about the past and just not feeding into the gossips even though it's not going to help and everything will just keep happening and keep turning out the same way until a change is going to occur or just like take place. So yeah, this has been a, I'd say, a thoroughly long reading and kind of like covering everything that has to do with Drake and Nicki Minaj and just the hidden feelings and whatever is lingering between them. And I hope it was informative in some ways and just shone light on certain aspects or just like certain situations. And if you have liked this reading, please don't forget to like it and comment under it, or like comment under suggestions, my god, that you have in mind. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give your girl a thumbs up. And I don't want to say that this is a Nicki Minaj bias channel, but we do love to read on certain situations that include her. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you ever want to have an unbiased tarot reader, an unbiased Nicki Minaj tarot reader on your timeline from time to time. And bye.